Sir, your presence in Kashmir itself with 700,000 people, what does that say? Is that your country?
Now I'll tell you what is not a fabrication as I go to General Shankar Prasad, and I hope the facts I put are not so difficult for our Pakistani guests to accept that they will, like Colonel Bashir Wali Muhammad, who could not answer any questions tonight, choose to walk out. What is not a fabrication is what Musharraf's memoirs said in September 2006.
How do you want me to say, yes, this is correct?
Musharraf has no reason to lie against his own country.
You see, Mr. Wali Muhammad was not used to you. We are old veterans.
That's all right. That's all right. You need to be used to the truth. And the truth is this. This is what Musharraf wrote. And I quote.
India is not known for being truthful country. You are a terrorist country for all your neighboring countries. See what you did in Sri Lanka. See what you did in Nepal. See what you did in Bangladesh and your own states.
Sir,
for God's sake, India is not a paradise.
Would you
and
like
you accuse
to be
us for doing that?
Of the tribal invasion?
Sir, 1 minute, 1 second.
Would you like to be reminded of the tribal invasion?
Vice Marshal,
yes, that was justified. I'm telling you that was justified.
वाइस मार्शल एक बात कहना चाहूंगा आपको कि जिस देश ने
47 से कर रहे हो अभी तक
मैं आपसे ये कहना चाहूंगा वाइस मार्शल
आपने 1 लाख औरतें
से आखिर तक वही ट्रेलर चल रहा है.
एक मिनट
वही चलेगा जब तक कश्मीर सेटल नहीं होगा वही ट्रेलर चलेगा. Why are you surprised at it?
You get over your Kashmir obsession.
Are you so decent people that you are surprised?
Vice Marshal, 1 minute. Can I please 1 second? Gentlemen, 1 minute.
होगा साहब जब पाकिस्तान ऑक्युपाइड कश्मीर आप हमें वापस दे देंगे.
Tonight,
आप ले लो बात करो आके. Convince us, take it.
Sir, you get over your Pakistan. Sir, you know there is just a couple of points I'd like to point to. I'd like to 1 second, please, gentlemen, 1 second, please. You know, let's get very factual on this. Musharraf wrote, most of these men came talking about Kargil from the ranks of the Northern Light Infantry. I later converted them into a regular group of the Pakistani army. They now exist as a proud segment, these terrorists. As a proud segment of the army's queen of battle, the infantry. 100 posts were built by the army along the 120 kilometers of the LOC for plugging the gaps. The plan, according to him, was a defensive maneuver.
I will do it again if you don't settle Kashmir.
Exactly. So there's an admission from you tonight. Why did it take me so long to get that admission from you?
Yes.
If you are not embarrassed of what you've done in Kargil, admit it.
I mean, it is
there you are.
Kashmiris to get Kashmir free. Is there any
more frank admission
that we want?
Do you need me to quote? Do you, Air Vice Marshal, do you need me to quote now more people? Let me keep quoting people till I make you admit. Lieutenant General Shahid Aziz, DG of the analysis wing of the ISI, said there were no mujahideen, only taped wireless messages. There were no mujahideen.
You are not telling me anything new.
So?
I know all this.
If you know all this, what are you defending? What are you defending?
I want to ask you, why are you keeping 700,000 Indian occupying force there?
There you are.
It is such a peaceful country.
General Shankar Prasad.
It believes in democracy. It believes in justice. Wherever there is no justice, there will never be peace.
General Shankar Prasad.
Like you. That's why we need the troops.
General Shankar Prasad wants to come into the debate. I have had 3 admissions from our Pakistani guests tonight that yes, our hands are probably bloodied in Kargil and have been hurt in Keran. I almost find this an admission on the News Hour tonight. After all the initial aggression of Mr. Hilali, I find admission after admission coming about the possible role in Keran. In fact, a defense of it coming up. General Shankar Prasad, your response to our guest from Pakistan.
I am surprised that you're surprised.
Everybody,
well, I'm surprised that you admit your role in terrorism.
Yes,
please continue.
Our friends from Pakistan have shouted enough,
and
shouting is not going to... Look, shouting is not going to help them admit the truth. At some point of the time or the other, the truth will come. The truth has already come. If my friends from Pakistan who have been on your channel since January this year need any more evidence to say that they're completely involved in infiltrating people and perpetrating terrorism in Kashmir, their shouting is not going to change the position. They have to accept today that there are 40 to 45 training camps functioning across the line of control in POK. There are 5,000 to 10,000 militants under training at any given time. The Pakistan Army goes on recruitment, training and arming of these people. They then assist them in crossing across the line of control with weapons. These are something that shouting is not going to overcome them. They can go on shouting, it is not going to help. They can say they brought letters, love letters, and all these words are fine, but they got weapons. They got weapons with Pakistani marking, not today. Throughout the period of insurgency, they have been bringing these weapons. Now, let us talk properly and please understand what is going on in Keren sector. Since 23rd of September, Pakistan Army has been making desperate efforts to cross the line of control and increase the number of people they can infiltrate across the line of control. They have had some successes, they've had massive failures. This year alone, if I can recall on media reports, close to 50 militants have been killed on the line of control who were trying to cross with weapons. The current weapon cache that we have is available in the media. We have close to about 18 to 20 AK-47 rifles and about equal number of pistols with large quantities of ammunition with Pakistani marking. The change this time has happened is that the number of pistols has increased considerably, and that is simply because the tactics are beginning to change. They're now wanting to use pistols with pillion riders on motorcycle to kill and create confusion in the hinterland of India.
Yeah.
So these are changes that are taking place. We have to understand all of this. Whether they accept it or don't accept it is a different matter. The truth of the matter is this, that this operation has been going on since 23rd. They have come inside India. Indian Army has got a very well orchestrated, tiered deployment of a horseshoe kind where they trap people inside Indian territory. And the last 13 days, combing operations have been going on. At least 10 odd militants of Pakistan side have been killed. 5 or 6 of our soldiers have been wounded. So there has been exchange of fire. But for the last about 24 hours, there is no firing because either the militants who crossed have been killed or they've gone back.
You have the benefit of having an experienced diplomat who follows foreign affairs and particularly Pakistan affairs sitting next to you. Ask him if recalling Kargil Kargil each and every time is the only thing that you can do.
But who trained Mukti Bahini, sir?
So I don't think, sir, I don't know whether you missed out on what he was saying.
Any discussion?
No, one second.
If you think we haven't moved on from Kargil,
Sir.
and you keep referring to Kargil, then forget it. There's no point in talking.
Then you can start from 1948, 1971,
I don't talk
we
about
can go to
Kargil.
1527 when Babur invaded India.
About the Keren sector.
Sir, I don't understand. 1 minute. General Shankar Prasad, 1 minute. You're being, you see, you're being interrupted by Mr. Hilali, and I'd just like to say this to Mr. Hilali. Mr. Hilali, please just allow him to complete. And if I'm not mistaken, not once did the general right now refer to Kargil. He was referring, in fact, to some excruciatingly interesting details of what have been found by those who have carried out the anti-Pakistan army and the anti-Pakistan terrorist operations. And I would like to add to that before I let him complete. You know, if you...
I just want...
One thing. The fact is, reconnaissance missions and radio intercepts have shown that attempts were being made to set up supply and logistic lines to these people, so-called infiltrators, just like it is done for regular troops. So just hear him out, Mr. Hilali, and you'll understand how your army got it so wrong once again. Yes, please.
I just want to explain, Arnab, I just want to explain. You see, with the kind of deployment that the Indian Army has got on the line of control now, and the tactics of tiered deployment to trap the militants, we have been able to eliminate and kill a large number of people this year. Now, what the Pakistan Army has realized is, and the Pakistan people who are infiltrating them or assisting in infiltrating them is, that it is not easy to infiltrate large number of people throughout the year. So this is the last desperate attempt before the winter set in. That's point one. The point two is this, that the number of people who are actually being infiltrated is much less than the number of weapons that they carry. Simply because there are a large number of people, or there are sufficient number of people who are perhaps infiltrating through Nepal, through the road route, and are going into mainland Kashmir Valley without the weapons. They need weapons. So weapons are being brought. Each person is bringing 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 weapons. So the number of people who are able to infiltrate has reduced because the Indian Army does not allow infiltration to take place. Of course, the rugged terrain and the support of the covering fire that the Pakistan Army gives, it does happen that people can infiltrate. And Keren, as all of us know, is a very tough and rugged terrain. So infiltration has taken place, but the number of people who have come is much less than the number of weapons that have come.
How many weapons can a man carry? Are you trying to say we are setting up depots having a man carry 2 AK-47s.
Why don't you understand, Mr. Hilali? Mr. Hilali, why don't you understand what I just said? In fact, if you had listened to what I had just said, you would have heard that reconnaissance missions and radio intercepts have shown that supply and logistic lines have been opened up to these so-called infiltrators, just like it is done for regular troops. That's an answer to your question. How many AK-47s can one person carry?
Will your allegations help? When the two prime ministers have agreed to establish DGMO to DGMO contact.
It's a sham. It's a sham. The conversation between the two prime ministers is an absolute sham.
Area of this infiltration.
Now I want to go to Mr. Parthasarathy, because Mr. Hilali was drawing Mr. Parthasarathy into the conversation. I'd like to draw him into the conversation. Mr. Parthasarathy's simple question is about Nawaz Sharif, who are friends in Pakistan, our guests in Pakistan seem to have infinite amount of belief in, and some people in Delhi also, unfortunately.
Well, it's unfortunate that we've been having interruptions and so on, and I'm sure Mr. Hilali and his friend will give me time to say what I want to say. In a way, I'm seriously concerned at the implications of what is happening. I'm going beyond Kargil. Kargil, of course, I was High Commissioner, and we had sufficient information to confirm that Mr. Nawaz Sharif was briefed both at the GHQ and later at the headquarters of the Force Commander Northern Area in Skardu. So I'll leave it at that. But I'm going to the more important things. In 2003, we reached a landmark agreement, and that was the ceasefire along the line of control. 2004 January, that was followed by an assurance from President Musharraf that territory under Pakistan's control would not be used for terrorism against India. What interested me thereafter when we observed the scene was 2 months thereafter, General Javed Ashraf Qazi, then the railway minister of Musharraf, but earlier DG ISI, made a very significant statement in Pakistan's National Assembly. He said, we have to admit that the Jaish-e-Mohammed was involved not only in the attack on the Indian Parliament, but also on attempts to kill General Musharraf. And I must say, in fairness, thereafter, for the last 10 years, the ceasefire has held by both sides. And I think that was a very positive development. Hence, when we go back to a pre-2003 situation, it causes concern. In the last 2 months, in August and September, there have been 51 violations in August, and 55 violations in August, and 31 violations in September of the ceasefire from the other side, largely because covering fire is being provided for infiltration. Now, I must say this, that the LOC has been tranquil for 10 years. Therefore, the reopening of this sort of infiltration and violence is a matter of serious concern. As I said, Mr. Nawaz Sharif was involved in Kargil. As I said, we got solid information of his briefings in GHQ and Skardu. And I also recall in 1997 when he came in, infiltration increased. He has a close linkage, a family linkage going back to his father's days with the Lashkar-e-Taiba, and that has been manifested very openly, and they don't deny it. After all, Shehbaz Sharif is funding through Punjab government funds the Jamaat-ud-Dawa. These are the facts. Now, how does it affect us? I think, yes, this infiltration will be cleared up. The snows will come. But my concern is whether this is a part of a pattern. We have to wait till the snows melt in June, and I would presume that the army will take the necessary precautions to see that we respond in full measure if this should resume next summer. Secondly, and so we'll have to wait for that. Secondly, this talk between the DGMOs, which was agreed to, let's have it, but I don't think much is coming of it. And let's also see what happens after the Kayani era ends. Things started heating up, the Mumbai attack, after President Musharraf had relinquished power and Kayani took over as army chief. So there'll be a new army chief come November. Let's see what happens. Finally, I think one thing is very clear. Why did our government, knowing this started on September 23rd, keep it away from the public before the meeting with Mr. Nawaz Sharif. So I think these are issues. We need to be more. We need to be.
No, one second.